Listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you isn't motivation, it's revelation. There are rules that shape success, rules most people never see. And today, you're going to hear 6 of them, not the obvious ones, the real ones, the ones that separate those who try from those who decide. Success does not arrive wrapped in fairness or timing or some cosmic reward for being good enough. Success responds to pressure, your pressure. It moves when you move, it bends when you refuse to break, and it answers when you speak with conviction. Most people spend their entire lives believing that hard work alone will open doors. But the truth no one tells you is this: you can work endlessly, quietly, politely, and still never receive what you believe you've earned. Because the world is not shaped by effort, it's shaped by boldness. By those who decide that they will not blend in, back down, or wait to be selected. The world gives to the ones who demand their place in it, not the ones who whisper for it. And the moment you embrace that, everything around you begins to shift. You can feel it the instant you choose intention over hesitation. There's a change in your posture, your voice, the way you walk into a room. It's not arrogance, it's clarity, and clarity is magnetic. You've seen people who carry it. They're not the smartest person in the room, they're not the most experienced. But they move like they belong, and so they do. They speak like their words matter, and so people listen. You ever wonder why? It's because they learn something powerful. Humans don't respond to potential, they respond to presence. Not the presence of perfection, but the presence of certainty. The world mirrors back whatever energy you broadcast. Walk in with doubt, and it hands you resistance. Walk in with authority and it yields. But most people never experience this shift because they're waiting to be ready, waiting for validation, waiting for someone to nod and say, yes, go ahead. That wait becomes a trap. It steals years, it steals dreams, and if you let it, it will steal the fire inside you. You don't need permission to evolve. You don't need a stage to speak. You don't need applause to begin. Readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. There will never be a moment when the universe signals, okay, now is safe, because growth isn't safe and success isn't served to the cautious. The ones who rise are the ones who stop negotiating with fear and step into their potential before they feel qualified. The people who break through, who transform their lives, understand a deeper truth. Your energy writes your story before your actions do. When you walk into a room unsure of your value, you force others to guess it. And when people have to guess, they always guess low. Why? Because uncertainty reduces visibility. You could be extraordinary, but if you shrink, dim, or hide, the world never learns your name. So the hidden rule is this: command the space you're in, no matter how small, because presence is practice. Every moment you choose to expand instead of contract trains your environment to respond. Speak your goals aloud. Claim your ambitions clearly. Move with intention, even if your voice shakes. The world doesn't elevate those who whisper. It elevates those who declare. Remember this: demanding is not aggression. It is self-honoring. It is the voice of someone who refuses to live life on a discount. Demanding your worth doesn't mean forcing others. It means refusing to negotiate with your own limitations. It means showing up with the confidence that your dreams are not random. They are placed within you because you are built to fulfill them. But fulfillment does not arrive by hoping for recognition. The most successful people decided long before anyone believed in them that they would not be overlooked. They became unforgettable by believing in themselves with such intensity that others had no choice but to notice. This shift from waiting to demanding is the first and most crucial leap towards success, because the world moves for the person who moves first. The moment you walk in with certainty, the moment you claim your place without hesitation, the moment you choose presence over permission, you stop chasing opportunities and start attracting them. You stop settling and start steering. You stop surviving and start shaping your life with intention. And let me tell you this with absolute clarity: once you choose to demand your worth, life becomes a completely different game. You stop being a spectator. You become the force. You become the one people remember, the one people watch, the one people follow. Not because you begged for attention, but because you stepped into your power and allowed no other outcome. And when you live like that, unapologetic, intentional, fully awake, the world doesn't just open doors for you, it builds new ones in places no one else imagined. The battle no one sees is the one that decides everything. It happens before the first step, before the first attempt, before the world ever hears your name. It happens in the quiet space inside your own mind, where your thoughts become beliefs and your beliefs become actions. This is the battlefield most people ignore, and because they ignore it, they lose long before they ever begin. They think success is about opportunity, talent, strategy, luck. But the truth is far more intimate. Success begins in the conversations you have with yourself when no one is watching. If those conversations are filled with doubt, hesitation, and fear, then your dreams never even make it out of your imagination. The inner battle is the most important one you will ever fight. And the dangerous part is this: no one can fight it for you. The quiet thoughts that shape your identity are powerful. They create the emotional climate you operate in every single day. If that climate is stormy, filled with self-criticism, fear of judgment, and insecurity, then every decision you make will be defensive, limited, small. You'll move like someone trying not to fail, instead of someone built to win. And you won't even notice it happening, because it's subtle. It's the way you talk yourself out of opportunities. The way you shrink in a room because you think you're not enough. The way you doubt your abilities even when you've proved them 100 times. People lose the internal battle not because they're weak, but because they've never been taught to challenge their own narrative. They've been taught to improve their skills, but not their self-belief. And that imbalance is where dreams quietly die. Winning the inner battle starts with honesty. Brutal honesty. You have to face the thoughts you avoid, the fears you bury, the insecurities you disguise with humor, hard work, or perfectionism. You have to acknowledge the voice that whispers, "You're not capable, you're too late, you don't belong, what if you fail?" Most people try to silence that voice with distraction. But distraction doesn't defeat it. It feeds it. The more you run from your fear, the larger it becomes. True power comes from confronting that voice head-on and refusing to let it dictate the direction of your life. You don't negotiate with doubt. You challenge it, you question it, you replace it. That is how inner strength is built. Not by avoiding discomfort, but by meeting it with courage. Every morning, before your day even begins, you're already in a fight. When you wake up and your mind says, "Stay where you are," that's the battle. When you look in the mirror and your first instinct is to criticize yourself, that's the battle. When you face a goal that feels too big, too far, too ambitious, and your instinct is to shrink your desire instead of expanding your belief, that is the battle. And that battle defines the entire tone of your day. If you lose those first moments, you spend the rest of the day recovering. But when you win them, when you silence the doubt, stand tall, and choose belief over fear, your entire day rises with you. Success is built in these invisible victories long before the visible ones ever appear. The people who win in life aren't the ones with the easiest path. They're the ones who control the dialogue inside their own mind. They tell themselves the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. I am capable. I am resilient. I can learn this. I deserve this. They speak life into their own goals. They guide their own confidence. They fuel their own fire. They don't wait for motivational speeches, external validation, or perfect conditions. They create their own internal momentum. And because they build strength on the inside, the outside world cannot intimidate them. They may have fear, but fear does not have them. That mental resilience becomes their advantage, quiet, steady, unshakable. What most people misunderstand is that the inner battle never truly ends. You don't master it once and walk away victorious forever. Winning the internal war is a daily practice, a discipline that strengthens you over time. Every time you choose self-belief over insecurity, you build a muscle. Every time you choose action over avoidance, you build courage. Every time you choose resilience over surrender, you build endurance. And eventually your inner world becomes a fortress. Not a fragile space easily broken by criticism or failure, but a solid foundation that cannot be shaken by the external noise of life. That is where true success begins. Not in the spotlight, but in the solitude. Not in the applause, but in the silence. Not in the moment you win, but in the countless moments you chose not to quit. Because when you win the battle within, the world never stands a chance against the power you bring into it. Discipline is one of the most misunderstood forces in the world. People hear the word and instantly think of restriction, punishment, or the loss of freedom. But that's only because they've never truly experienced what discipline gives you. They only focus on what it asks from you. Discipline isn't about denying yourself joy, it's about designing your life with intention. It's the invisible architecture behind every dream that materializes into reality. It's the bridge between who you are and who you know you can become. Without discipline, your potential remains a theory. With discipline, your potential becomes a roadmap. Every person who has ever built something extraordinary didn't rely on motivation. They relied on discipline because motivation is emotional, but discipline is foundational. Freedom grows from structure, not from chaos. Most people want the rewards of success but avoid the routines that create it. They want results without repetition, progress without pressure, achievement without accountability. And that's why they stay stuck. Discipline is not the enemy of freedom, it is the birthplace of it. When you discipline yourself, you take control of your time, your habits, your energy. You're no longer reacting to life, you are directing it. Imagine waking up each day knowing that your actions aren't random, they're aligned. That your habits aren't accidental, they're intentional. That your future isn't uncertain, it's being actively built. That kind of clarity is freedom. That kind of consistency is power. And yet, most people will never experience it because they're waiting to feel ready instead of deciding to commit. Here's the truth most people run from. Discipline is uncomfortable by design. It asks you to choose long-term vision over short-term pleasure. It asks you to show up when you don't want to, when you're tired, when you're uninspired, when excuses sound more reasonable than effort. But discomfort is not a sign you're on the wrong path, it's proof you're on the right one. Growth does not happen in comfort. You don't strengthen muscles without resistance. You don't sharpen skills without repetition. You don't build character without challenges. Discipline is the tool that transforms discomfort into progress. And the more you train yourself to tolerate that discomfort, the more unstoppable you become. Because discipline doesn't get easier, you get stronger. And while everyone talks about consistency, few understand what it actually requires. Consistency isn't about perfection, it's about the commitment to continue. It's about showing up on the days you'd rather look away. It's about taking one small step forward, even when you can't take a big one. The world celebrates intensity because it's dramatic, flashy, and impressive. But intensity doesn't last. What lasts is the quiet, ordinary, repetitive grind that no one sees. The person who wins long-term isn't the one who works the hardest once. It's the one who works steadily until their effort becomes an identity. Consistency isn't glamorous, but it's unbeatable. It's the force that compounds. It's the foundation of every transformation. Intensity can spark change, but consistency sustains it. There's also a deeper layer to discipline that people rarely talk about. The relationship you build with yourself when you keep your promises. Every time you honor a commitment, whether big or small, you strengthen your self-trust. And self-trust is one of the most powerful psychological assets a person can have. When you trust yourself, you stop hesitating, you stop second-guessing, you stop negotiating with your goals, you become someone who can rely on your own word. That creates confidence, not the loud performative kind, but the quiet internal kind that makes you unshakable. People think confidence comes from success, but it's actually the other way around. Confidence comes from discipline. Discipline comes from self-respect. And once you have confidence and self-respect working together, there is nothing in this world you cannot create. Most importantly, discipline is a language, one that your future self understands better than your present self. The person you're becoming relies on the choices you make today. Discipline is how you communicate with your future. Every act of discipline is a message that says, I believe in who I'm becoming. And those messages accumulate until they create a life that feels intentional, empowered, and fully aligned. When you look back someday, you won't remember the days you felt tired or unmotivated. You'll remember that you showed up anyway. You'll remember that you kept going. You'll remember that you built a life not out of convenience but out of conviction. That is the legacy of discipline, a legacy of strength, clarity, and follow through. Because when you choose discipline, you choose yourself. And choosing yourself consistently, unapologetically, powerfully is the most liberating success you will ever experience. Your network is not a list of names, LinkedIn connections, or social media followers. It's not about the quantity of people you know, it's about the quality of the energy you allow into your life. The truth is simple but brutal. The people around you either lift you or limit you. They either fuel your ambition or drain it. And most people underestimate how much influence this has on their trajectory. You can be talented, disciplined, and ready to conquer. But if the people in your orbit are small-minded, complacent, or toxic, they will silently sabotage your progress. They don't need to say a word. They just need to exist in your life, and their energy will quietly define your limits. We often confuse connection with alignment. We think proximity equals growth. We think being around someone who is successful is enough to learn success. But true impact comes from alignment, not just exposure. If the energy in your circle conflicts with your vision, if it saps your focus, or if it normalizes mediocrity, you are being conditioned to settle. Surrounding yourself with the right people isn't about gaining favors or climbing social ladders. It's about protecting your mindset. Your network becomes a mirror of your ambition. Look closely if your friends, colleagues, or acquaintances don't challenge you, inspire you, or hold you accountable. You are accepting invisible limits on your life. Every interaction sends a signal. When you spend time with people who are passionate, driven, and bold, their energy becomes contagious. Their habits, attitudes, and courage influence how you perceive your own potential. That's why mentorship, partnerships, and collaborations matter more than status or titles. You're not learning someone else's strategy. You're absorbing the frequency of someone who believes in possibility. And when you consistently expose yourself to that frequency, your confidence grows, your creativity flourishes, and your risk tolerance expands. You begin to think bigger because your environment has taught you that big thinking is normal, not exceptional. Conversely, negative influence works in the same subtle but destructive way. People who complain, doubt, or live in fear don't just impact your mood, they impact your perception of what's possible. Their insecurities and limitations can quietly embed themselves into your mindset until you find yourself unconsciously adopting them. The danger is not always obvious. Toxicity often comes disguised as concern, advice, or familiarity. It whispers, "That's risky, you're not ready," or "Why bother?" If you listen, your ambition contracts. If you allow it, your vision shrinks. And that is the hidden cost of ignoring your circle. It's not just who you meet, it's who you let shape your identity and influence your decisions. Curating your network is an act of self-respect. It's about consciously choosing who is allowed into your inner circle, because their presence will either elevate or erode you. Ask yourself, does this person celebrate my growth or question it? Do they challenge me to be better or drag me into mediocrity? Do they bring energy that expands my possibilities or drains it? The clarity here is vital. You cannot outgrow your environment without deliberate action. You must evaluate, adjust, and sometimes remove people from your life. Not out of cruelty, but out of commitment to your future. Protecting your energy is not selfish. It is strategic. Your network is not a social convenience. It is a vehicle for transformation. Finally, the hidden rule of success in relationships is this. You must invest in reciprocity, not dependency. Surround yourself with people who inspire and challenge, but also contribute to their growth. Networks flourish when they are mutual, not transactional. You cannot thrive alone, but you also cannot thrive in a circle that is stagnant or toxic. Success is contagious, but only in the right environment. By curating your energy, consciously choosing who shapes your mindset, and committing to mutual elevation, you create an ecosystem where ambition multiplies, possibilities expand, and your life accelerates. The power of who surrounds you is the power of who you become, because when you surround yourself with the right energy, your life doesn't just change. It evolves into a version of yourself you never imagined possible. Reinvention is not a luxury. It's a necessity. The world doesn't reward stagnation. It doesn't honor comfort. It doesn't wait for you to finish learning the old ways before it demands something new. Every industry, every field, every relationship, and every personal journey is in constant motion. And if you resist evolving, you fall behind. The hidden rule of success is simple. If you want to stay relevant, if you want to grow, if you want to leave a mark, you must be willing to reinvent yourself over and over again. The people who cling to old versions of themselves, who define their identity by past achievements, are the same people who get left behind while the world moves forward. Reinvention begins with awareness. You must first recognize the gaps between who you are today and who you want to become tomorrow. That requires brutal honesty. It means examining your skills, your mindset, your habits, and your relationships without excuses or rationalizations. It means asking yourself uncomfortable questions. Am I still growing, or am I repeating patterns? Am I holding on to identities that no longer serve me? Am I brave enough to let go of the familiar for the sake of progress? Awareness is the spark that ignites transformation. Without it, reinvention is impossible because you cannot change what you refuse to see. The second step is courage, the courage to disrupt yourself. Most people fear reinvention because it comes with uncertainty. They fear judgment, failure, and the unknown. But here's the truth, comfort is a trap. Staying in a version of yourself that no longer serves your growth guarantees mediocrity. True reinvention demands that you challenge your routines, your beliefs, and sometimes even your relationships. It demands that you step into the unknown, risk being misunderstood, and shed the identity that has become convenient. It is not easy, it is not neat. But courage is the fuel that transforms discomfort into opportunity. Without courage, potential remains dormant and untapped. Next, reinvention requires relentless learning. You cannot become what you need to be if you refuse to acquire new skills, insights, and perspectives. The world changes faster than any one person can keep pace without continuous growth. Reinvention is not just about changing your job, your style, or your habits. It is about upgrading your mind. Read, observe, experiment, and surround yourself with people who challenge your assumptions. Take risks that teach you resilience. The hidden rule is this: growth is not optional, it is mandatory. And the more you invest in learning, the more equipped you become to create a version of yourself that is not only relevant, but extraordinary. Equally important is adaptability. Reinvention is not a one-time act. It is an ongoing process. You must be willing to pivot when circumstances shift, to adjust when opportunities arise, and to evolve when your previous strategies no longer yield results. Adaptability is a mindset. It's the ability to stay fluid without losing your direction. Life will never go exactly as planned, and your ability to bend without breaking is what ensures that you continue moving forward. Those who cling rigidly to their old selves become obstacles to their own success. Those who embrace change